Hi, welcome to Thaddaus Dawson Speaks, where liberation through valuation and soul meets soil. Today we have a special guest, Miss Crystal Victoria, and she will be telling us about her tremendous organization, Target Evolution, where she's doing some revolutionary things in workforce development and bringing that workforce development energy to the retail space with young entrepreneurs in Dallas and in Houston. I had the opportunity to share a platform with her on Monday, and she was so gracious to agree to come on to our show today. And I know every week I talk about how exciting and how special the guests are, but this is another blessing that we've been able to continue. And I just want to jump in. She's an author. She's written 8 books. Her organization has been in existence for 15 years now. Um, she is not only making money, she is making a difference. And that's only because she had to pivot and survive. And now she is doing tremendous things. So I just want to jump in there with our special guest, Miss Crystal Victoria.
Hey there.
Hey, Crystal.
Hi.
So tell the people what Target Evolution is and what Target Evolution does.
Sure. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we do every chance that I get. So Target Evolution, we are a nonprofit with the heart for the youth and, the rigor of a commercial real estate fund. And the reason that we share that is because, a lot of times when people hear nonprofits, the first thing they think of is charity work, donations, etc. But we really are a social enterprise, and we have multiple revenue streams and programs that support our operations. And we've recently added a retail real estate piece about 6 years ago that we're expanding right now for youth and families. So it's been an exciting journey. We've been in business. We're celebrating 15 years this year, and I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Well, I was just amazed at, for one, your longevity. You've been doing this for 15 years. So you started when you were your freshman year at high school.
Yeah, something like that. Plus, I don't know about give or take 10 years.
And then your ability to tap in what we would like to say maximize highest and best use for the real estate. That was really a interesting component, and you had a great grasp, or you have a great grasp of market dynamics and market analysis. So a lot of times we see second generation uses of big box retailers as churches. That was a big thing for a while. And then we see older malls with transitional uses. And one of the things that you were very adamant about, and I really appreciated, was um, putting your workforce development program where you're teaching folks how to be retail entrepreneurs into outdated retail malls that have outlived their useful life, that don't have the market support. So you are in high end malls, which is awesome and incredible, where the demographics are available to support the business. How did you get so forward thinking?
That's a great question. Uh, it was a happy accident. I'll tell you that much. What started as a pop up for the holidays in 2019 has evolved into something beyond my wildest dreams. I think if you would have told me that we would have grown 6 times and from a 200 square foot space into a 3,000 square foot space in the largest mall in Texas, into partnerships with the second largest mall owner, and then with Macy's, I'd have laughed at you. Um, but it's so funny how life is full circle, because I worked in retail from the age of 14 to 22. I've worked at every retail store in the mall, from Victoria's Secret to J.C. Penney's to Dillard's to Fit Action. There's not too many retail stores that I haven't worked in. That's always been my thing. I love retail, sincerely, genuinely love retail, and some of that comes from, I'm a woman, I'm a real girl, I'm a girl's girl, and I love to shop. And so when you work in retail stores, then you get discounts, employee discounts on everything in the store. So my love for retail really originated because I loved shopping, and I wanted to find a way as a kid, as a teenager, to shop at a discount. And and so, like I said, the full circle moment came to me in 2019 when we primarily our focus and our claim to fame, what's made us popular in Texas beyond our retail stores, is our Teen Discount program. And so at the end of a year, at the end of the 2019, I wanted to do a unique experience for kids that were Teen Biz Camp alumni. And, I saw this opportunity to have a somewhat flexible, but kind of, I would say longer term yet temporary space in a store in the Gallery of Houston, the back of a store. And we had, I think, 10 or 11 youth from our program in that store. And before you know it, we had went viral 4 or 5 times, and Black Enterprise and news. It went crazy. And it wasn't just the attention that for me sealed the deal. It was the impact and the outcomes and what I saw happening to these kids in real time, what I saw them learning in real time, that made me say, we got to keep this. I don't know exactly how, but we're going to keep this. And I'm just grateful because, it's always a divine, alignment, that when you step into a divine alignment, God makes a way. And that's just really what happened. God made a way.
Well, as we all know, he never gives you a vision without making a provision. And so those of us that have been blessed with the vision don't get to unsee it. And then when you're pursuing it, you have a passion and a fire that won't allow you to do anything else, fortunate or unfortunate.
Yes.
So I know you had some lean years and you had to make some tough decisions, but you have definitely been an inspiration for me. And to know that you have been around for 15 years, our organization is still in its infancy stages. So we're going through all of those particular growing pains. We'll be 3 years old in June. Talk about when you made that critical decision to pivot. I know we covered that a little bit before on the show, because you were sinking and drowning and you had to save your organization.
Pivot, which time?
Yeah.
Which one? Which pivot? So if I had to start at the beginning, so I had five of my 8 books were released before 2015. In fact, the last 3 I published in 2015. And I tell a joke. I tell people, look, every time I went broke, I wrote another book. And I had 5 at the time. And so I had a book when we started. I wrote a book to help, move things along. And then things took a little dip. I wrote another book, and then I wrote 3 books at one time. And I didn't write any more books until 2023. So that kind of gives you an idea how long.
Oh, you were rolling by then. You didn't need no money by 2023. You were good. But that's funny you should say that, because I have been working on my book and spending more time writing. And the whole goal is to finance our apprenticeship program to get the word out there. So we do the radio show. We've been traveling and touring the country. You're definitely on our radar for Dallas and Houston when we start doing our heirs property training. Houston is Prairie View. So we've spent a lot of time at Prairie View, and I spent a little bit of time in Dallas over the last couple of years. So looking forward to getting back out there. And now you get to be on the visitors list.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So what was the name of the first book?
The first book is called From the Streets to the Skies, No Limits.
Okay. Was that inspired by Master P?
No. It is my autobiography. And really shares the story, the backstory. So, what I think I've come to realize over the years that I didn't grasp at first, maybe a little bit, but now I am leaning more into the foundation of why, because I've lasted so long. I think it's the piece that people miss, but my why is very strong. I, grew up middle class income household, single parent, only child. A lot of people think, well, that means you're spoiled. I'd say, no, I was privileged, though. I've had a job since I was 14. I like my own money. I like to work. But I just got in a lot of trouble because I was a very smart kid. And I had some unique skills that I didn't know what to do with. And unfortunately, at the time, being an entrepreneur and business ownership or just being able to sell things just wasn't a popular topic. I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. It's not something that I'm the only entrepreneur in my family. It's not something I was raised in that, was around me, but I've always had that skill set. And so because I had that skill set, I would say to some degree, I was treated as smart, but I was often punished for it. It wasn't embraced in a way that allowed me to develop it fully. And once I got older and I went through got in a whole bunch of trouble just because I was an entrepreneur and didn't know it, didn't have any guidance, and was told that I was too smart for my own good, and all of this other stuff. When the truth is that I had a very unique skill set that needed a very specific outlet, and without having the environment to cater to that, the opposite side of it is you'll end up in trouble. That being said, once that I started businesses, and Target Evolution is actually was my third business. My first was a coffee shop with my best friend, and one of the college campus. She went to UNT, so in the UNT college campus, we did a coffee shop, and then we did a business brokerage firm together, and then I did a text message marketing firm before that was a thing. So before American Idol used text blank 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 to blank 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 to vote, I had a company that did that. But that being said, after my first business, I'll never forget when it hit me. So I had made money doing a lot of different things. But the first time that I made a significant amount of money legally as a business owner, I realized, oh, this is what I was all this time. And oh crap, now I messed up some of my life and I can't fix some of this stuff. and man, why didn't anybody tell me? And I think my anger, my organization was a way for me to channel my anger, because I was angry at the fact that I was super smart, that I'd had a brighter future if somebody had given me the resources, or if I had an environment to start a business or to just explore it and build the skills and get mentorship from, professionals and executives. And my anger at not having that resource and seeing me do so much damage to my life as a result of not having it is what's kept me in business for 15 years.
But I would challenge you and say that needed to happen for you to be able to do what you're doing, because without that lack, you wouldn't have seen that void. And that void, you needed to go through that fire to be where you are. And I'm just so proud of you. And I just think you are only getting started. And what happened in retail, I think that's going to be, retail has been struggling for years, especially with the internet and Amazon, and they've been looking for things to do with retail spaces. I think you are the modern day. I told you this. You're the modern day corner store where the family lives above the store. So, I mean, you got.
But we're on our way.
But it's coming in the concept with the housing, entrepreneurship, the different things that you can do in the mall are just incredible and awesome. So you've already got one relationship. I think you pretty much have perfected the blueprint. What is the age range of the children that you work with?
So our Teen Biz Shop and Kitchen, which is our youth incubator, is for ages 8 to 18. And we actually are rolling out an adult version of our incubators that are product themed, and they're for ages 18 plus. But our core focus and how we perfected our model was by focusing on kids. But I'm excited to explore what happens when the kids meet the adults. They won't be in the same store for several reasons. But to know that it's gonna be, you know, based on how things are unfolding, it'll be the kids on one side of the mall in their own store, and their parents probably down the hall in another store.
What type of things is it that your students sell? And I know, like a lot of my students, like we talked earlier, they just want the bag. Tell me how to get the bag. So if you can show them how to get the bag, and you don't have to go through all those bumps and bruises, taking penitentiary chances, they are 10 toes down and really excited about it. And so that's what I love the most about what you're doing, creating opportunities. Can you speak to that for me, please?
Sure. And I love the fact that you said that, because that's what got me in trouble. I was an entrepreneur with the wrong product. It's the wrong product. Okay. And, at first we didn't have a real strong strategy around what we allowed kids to sell. We ruled out food early, only to bring it back in this new space. And there's a few reasons why, but essentially the basics: t-shirts, hats, cosmetics, lip gloss, their favorite, candles, bracelets, jewelry. Those are the kind of things kids sell. Now, what we have added in our new store, which is a bakery deli, is the opportunity for them to come in and actually do baked foods like cookies, brownies, lemonade, stuff like that. We had ruled it out before because in our first store, we had a kid that bought in some cookies and didn't come in the store for like 3 weeks and left them on the shelf, and somebody bought them. They were hard. I mean, no one got sick. But I immediately snatched all food. I was like, no more food. That's going to be a liability issue. If anybody gets sick, I don't think we have a solution for that yet. And as I've mentioned before, I'm really good about focusing on the small thing and getting the small things, the more important pieces of our structure right before expanding into doing too much. So we stayed with t-shirts and hats and bracelets, and lip gloss is cool because the organic makeup, organic bases don't break you out. We've had kids do that. That one young lady had an entire makeup line. She had lip gloss and eyeshadows and eyelashes. We had a couple of those. Lip gloss is popular amongst the young ladies. So, those are the things that kids typically sell. And, again, in this new space, we're going to add food back, but we also have our own small business and a box kit for kids, as well as a maker space will be in this new store as well.
Really? So you talked about coffee, and I know the coffee industry makes $100 billion before 11 o'clock. Are any of your students focused in on that at all?
So it's funny you mentioned that. In our first store, we had students that had coffee beans and had a coffee business. As of now, those kids are grown now. That was 6 years ago. So they've got to be in their 20s. But so they'd be in the adult version. But as of right now, no. But what we do see is a lot of like bakery stuff, like brownies. We've got an amazing kid with cookies, and cookies are amazing. There will be some staples that are just, central to our space in and of itself. But that's part of the appeal of it, is because we want youth brands that have these, products to be vendors in the store and to bring in their coffee. And then they have not only a platform to sell it in a high traffic mall, they also have a commercial kitchen to create it in, so that we can make sure that things are prepared in a safe and clean environment.
So, how long what's the optimum time people stay in the incubator, and where do they go after the incubator?
That's a great question. So the length of time students typically stay in our incubator, we've had students that stayed with us for 3 years, 3.5, which is a long time. They were making enough money, it justified it. Excuse me, I've got allergies. The weather is changing. It's driving me nuts. But anywho, that being said, so they stay an average of 3.5 years. And sometimes it can be longer, just depending on the kid. And I say they're kids, but after they've been in our stores a while, they're teenagers and the young adults. And right now I'm watching, because, after spending years, I mean, heck, some of our students I met in 7th grade, 8th grade, and I'm seeing them now walk the stage in high school and in their 2nd and 3rd year in college, and they still call me, I'm Aunt Crystal. So those
do
kids
they go into business? They go on to college. What do they typically go on to do?
They go on and they do all kinds of things. The path unfolds several ways. I'm really excited about how I see this experience matriculating through their lives. I would say, based on what I've seen, about 30% of our students that have gone through our program are still entrepreneurs in some capacity. Their business changes. They may not be doing the same thing they were in our program or selling the same thing they were when they were in our stores, but they're still entrepreneurs. And that has been a beautiful thing to watch. Some of them are, and that's okay. What they know and what I've explained to them is, I don't care what you do. What I care about is you have options and you have the skills.
And that's so important, especially in today's market and lack of job security. So you're teaching them how to fend for themselves. And most people are not able to think out of the box, just like they tried to confine you and keep you in the box, get a good job at the post office or wherever. And that just was not enough from you. And what I'm sitting here laughing, I'm thinking, what I'm seeing in my head is, I was watching Tubi the other night, and I was watching What Does Love Have to Do with It? And Tina Turner, as a youth, was singing. And so she was out singing everybody at 5 years old. I was singing all the grown folks and adults, and the lady just walked her out by her ear out to the front door. That's what I see what you were doing. You just refused to fit in that box and kept singing louder than everybody else.
I would not fit. I got more creative and louder with age. That is a perfect image of what it looked like. I wish that the consequence was me getting dragged out of church by my ear. It was worse than that, but
but you do not look like whatever it is that you have been through, and you are a walking, breathing testimony. So again, everybody just wants to show up and shine. Nobody wants to go through the fire and grind. You have been through the fire, and that's a beautiful thing, man. You're still here. You're still smiling. Would nobody believe all the stuff that you went through and been through? And what you are doing is so purposeful in allowing folks to know that there are other alternatives. There are other ways. And again, my students, the first thing I want to know is the bag. That's all they want to know is the bag. And that is so important and so critical to give folks this level of hope and success.
Yes. It's, I've shared this with people. I'm like, and I've shared this since day one, with parents especially. I'm like, our competition isn't really other youth entrepreneurship programs. And I also think this is another thing that made us, number one program in Texas. Our competition is illegal activities, selling dope on the street. I hate to say it like this for all my Kardashian fans, but the Kardashians, like my fans, my competition is those things that youth are typically attracted to. Again, trying to get the bag with unrealistic expectations of what that really requires, and to make the experience real and help them to connect something small that they have access to that's tangible to that end result that they're wanting. And that's legal, because there's a lot of things you can attach to the end result, but is it legal? Is it going to carry you far? And then helping them frame the mindset, because a lot of times people see small things, and I'm not the type to despise humble beginnings. And I think sometimes people want to do things, but they want to start big. And when you ask them to break their idea down into the smallest piece, it's like, I don't want to do that because that's not attractive, or that doesn't fit the image that I want. But helping these kids understand, as well as coming to understanding myself, is that image that I want is founded upon the humble beginning. That's how it gets stronger. Yeah, I didn't want to write 8 books either. I didn't want to write the first book. I went into entrepreneurship school, and I felt like I could do that. And I had a team, and I had the money, and it's like, well, that should happen. But, in retrospect, I'm glad that it didn't, because had that happened, I wouldn't have seen it or even been in the position for the opportunity I am now. So, really helping youth understand, again, the importance of hard work and the work ethic, but also the importance of starting small. Do not despise humble beginnings and starting small. There are so many people that laughed at me and that looked at what I was doing as crazy, until I got a TIA build out budget of $1 million to build this incubator.
I love that story.
It's not funny anymore. Until it was cute, until the second largest mall owner in the world was like, build as many of these as you want. How many do you want to do? And so, I think that, and again, this started from a 200 square foot pop-up. That was cute, but that I saw already then, this is much bigger than that,
But you mastered the basics. So I know in Wing Chun there's something called Sundam Tao, and it's the basic fundamentals every day, and you practice them every single day when somebody's looking, when nobody's looking, and then you constantly build upon that. So you started with 200 square feet pop-up, with a 200 square foot pop-up. Now tell them how much retail space you occupy.
So our new space will be around somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 square feet. We've got the floor plan, and we're identifying which exact spaces we want. We've got a couple of options at the Parks Mall in Arlington that we're kind of going between. And the reason for that is mall traffic. One of the interesting lessons that I've learned over 6 iterations of this, growing 6 times, is that you don't want to just be in the mall. You want to be in specific places in the mall. You want to be in in this place where it's going to be high foot traffic. Every place in the mall, the foot traffic isn't high.
How did you get the mall to take a chance on you?
I didn't. Heck, I bulldozed my way, but I would also argue that COVID helped, because at that point there were so many retailers closing that they were happy that anybody wanted space. And at that time, we had been awarded a contract with Workforce Solutions to build the same concept that we had in Houston and Dallas. And so I went and we went kind of a few rounds with Galleria Dallas to get in that mall. And where they couldn't deny me is we had the money. I didn't ask them for charity. My stores weren't free. I went in there willing to pay more than other retailers for these stores. And, my build out in my first custom inline was $30,000, which we did not have the budget for. It's another lesson I learned. That was on top of rent. And, my stores cost on average, the inlines were easy $20,000 a month to run. And
so you're talking about inlines. Most people don't understand the inlines, the anchor store. Do you want to be closer to the anchor store, the exit, or the food court?
Food court. Always food court.
Exactly.
And so in the end lines, just to, kind of expand on that, as you mentioned, the end lines are these little small spaces in between the anchors. So that are not carts in the aisle. So whenever you're able to walk inside the store and the store has doors, that's an end line. But if it's a big space, if it's something that's, it anchors the mall, like a J.C. Penney's, Dillard's, or any kind of other big box retailer, Macy's, Dillard's, J.C. Penney's, those are anchor stores, and the anchor stores own their real estate. The mall is only owned, the corridor of the mall and the inlines is what the mall owners usually own.
So can you walk us through some of your signature programs?
Sure. So we have youth programming, which, as I said, our core is youth. And then our incubators will be extending to adults and families. So we have workbooks with multiple ways, I'd say, for a kid, an entire ecosystem of data-driven and evidence-based programs and products that include books. We have a Teen Biz Box. That's an all-in-one small business startup kit. We have a camp in which is a 4-week experience that's really hands-on, interactive, includes the books and the Teen Biz Box. And then we have our retail program, which is Teen Biz Shop. And if for kids that want to participate in the shop, they get the book, they get the camp, they get everything. It's like it's a la carte, and then they can package things together depending on your level of need. Or if you just have a product and you don't need any training or anything from us, you can come in and rent a shelf at our stores.
What does your typical customer look like? And how do you market to them? Online, or it's just the foot traffic?
So our typical customer comes from school districts. Our Teen Biz Box is starting in fall of 2026. Actually, it'll probably start later this spring, after April. Our Teen Biz Box is actually in schools. We'll be in Harris County schools. Harris County Department of Education covers all 25 Houston area school districts, including Houston ISD. So our Teen Biz Box sells online. Parents can buy them. They're $100. It's enough product inventory in it for a kid to make $200 or more. It's just a sophisticated lemonade stand. It's a cute little pop-up kit, and I have some. I just don't have them on site of me. I can go grab one. But they have art supplies, 1 of 3 products, as well as a table sign, so that if a kid wants to just pop up outside and do a sophisticated lemonade stand, they can sell bracelets, craft notebooks, or ceramic coasters. And all of the materials that they need to sell is inside the box. And my favorite thing, no mess, no glue, no bacon.
How much? So you say the box costs $200.
No, they're $97.
Oh, $97. Who?
$200.
Oh, okay. Who pays for the box?
Parents can pay for them. They're available online on our website right now for sale. And then we have in school districts that are coming and buying them in bulk to give and incorporate in their entrepreneurship programs.
So this has just really been, thank you for coming on to the show first and foremost. Is there anything else that you would like to cover? And you got to come back. So, you can't just get off that easy. And thank you for blessing me with this tremendous birthday gift. Today is my birthday. I had to trick you and tell you it was my birthday, and I needed you to get on the show for my birthday. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Happy birthday again. I hope 60 is the best year ever. Whoops, was I supposed to say that? But be proud of it.
It is what it is,
You look very amazing, very handsome for your age. Black don't crack.
Well, thank you, but that looked like a qualifier. I just like to look good. I don't like to look good for my age. That's that's like you'd be cute if you weren't so ugly.
I know. I'm so sorry. You're right. You're right.
That's okay.
I apologize. Okay. You are a handsome guy, no matter what age you are.
Yeah, I thought we were dealing in evidence-based, data-driven analysis. I thought that kind of spoke for itself, but okay. All right.
Well, again, happy birthday. I'm grateful to be here. And thank you for taking time out to learn about the work that we do, and how it impacts communities. I appreciate this opportunity to share.
And I will see you in DC in a couple of weeks at the Policy Summit.
I believe so. I'm still working out details, but we're working on it.
Okay, okay. Well, we hope to see you there. Rick and I have been stalwarts there at Keevan's conferences for FISIC and the SCLC. So again, I am just really so impressed with everything that you are doing, and just a big fan. And please continue to do the work, continue to smile. And we talked a lot about profits over purpose, and I think is amazing that you are able to do both. And you are not just giving folks fish; you're teaching them how to fish, and that's sustainable and able to last, and actually changing generations in real time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a journey, I really look forward to, like I said, what's next. I think, if I could give just some statistics, what people don't realize is that every year, $7 trillion gets spent in retail, and about 1.5 trillion gets spent online. So that means every year over $5 trillion gets spent in brick and mortar retail in this country. And we
What
have,
percentage of that is attributed to Black folks?
I do not have the answer to that. Here's what I can tell you though. Black people only own less than 4% of commercial real estate. So
That I knew.
and so here's the contrast and why I mentioned that. There's been a lot of, I would say, hype the last few years about Black people not getting venture capital investment and all of that, to start companies, and we're not getting the capital. But I really believe that and although that's true, I will not take that away, as an importance. But I would say it's time for us to expand our focus, excuse me, and, stop worrying so much about where $400 billion is going, because we're missing 5 trillion over here. And, there is always funding for real estate projects, commercial real estate, because the land doesn't move. You cannot take it with you. And so my hope is that in the next few years, that there is some significant investment in commercial real estate beyond housing. Housing is good. Multifamily is amazing too. But people are missing retail. And again, that's a $5 trillion, $5 trillion in spending, a $5 trillion market, in which we don't own any interest in, and we also we're not even asking for it.
So we have got our next subject for our next conversation. So our next show, we're going to focus on retail, real estate, and the missed opportunities, because we spend so much and get so little. So we're always spending and not building wealth. So that's going to be our lead in for our next that's going to be 30 minutes in and of itself. So I'm going to have, matter of fact, I'm going to get in touch with you personally to be able to get this scheduled so we can keep this conversation going, because that is really, really important.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. And now this is the end of our show. Thaddaus Dawson Speaks, Liberation Through Valuation, where soul meets soil. Please like, share, subscribe. I know I always forget to say that, but please do that. We need you. We need your support.